Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today's video, we're doing something a little bit different. We're gonna try to create a cinematic shot out riding our motorcycle. But first, we need to get some coffee. Perfect, got our coffee. We can start gearing up and head out. The tools of the trade that we're gonna be using in today's video is just gonna be an assortment of action cameras. We have an older model GoPro Session that I kind of wish they would bring them back, because here is an old Session 5 that got pretty beat up. It still turns on, the LCD screen does not work anymore, and the battery life is intermittent. It's hit or miss. That sometimes I'll charge it, it's a great charge, other times I'll charge it, it only lasts for 10-15 minutes. So this one's been pretty much retired, we just hold on to it. That here is just a regular Hero Session. But most times we just use this as kind of our throwaway camera, that if we put this in the center of the road, we can sacrifice this one. We've had a couple run over already, but I have really enjoyed these. We have a GoPro Hero 8 waiting for the announcement of the new GoPro, as well as the new GoPro Max, hopefully. And then we also have a 360 camera. This is gonna be the Insta360 X2. They have released a new version, an updated version for the 2020 year here in September, which is going to be Insta360 X3. It does even more in the same package. We do have coupon codes, and we do have an affiliate link to the Insta360 store for several cameras, that upon purchase and using that link, you do get a free accessory with your Insta360, as well as talking about different camera angles and how just a quick shift in the camera angle can add a little bit more of a story to tell, that dynamic to make your video stand out just a little bit more. And now that we've had our coffee, we're gonna go gear up, get on the motorcycle, and get some footage rolling.
So what is the benefit of incorporating multiple angles into your videos? When it comes to moto vlogs, the most often used shots is going to be from your helmet, the POV style, but then you also have a secondary camera, which is often mounted onto the master cylinder or somewhere on the handlebars or the fairing, that is going to be able to bring the rider into that different world, that is going to give you a third-person view of me while I'm talking. And it's very nice because it helps break up the video and just gives it that little bit of a change that's going to help retain the audience's attention. If you watch a lot of these clips, especially for TikTok and some of these Instagram reels, Mr. Beast comes to mind, that he has so many things going on in the videos that your brain is constantly taking in that information, and his level of retention is bar none probably one of the greatest out there.
I'm gonna ask Gordon Ramsay which one tastes better, and be brutally honest. This is $400 chocolate I bought off the internet, and this is my chocolate bars. To be fair, my chocolate's like a couple bucks, so if he does say it's better, that's not on me. Why did I do this?
Because he's constantly doing something. One of the bigger things, another thing I've noticed in some of these videos is that they'll take a single clip. So say you're looking at me right now, and then they'll go ahead and add a couple zooms. They'll have it shift where if I'm talking using my hand, the camera may shift to it, and it will just help track it in Adobe After Effects, and it can get pretty complicated if you wanted to. But even if you were just to incorporate an additional camera angle, it helps raise your videos just that much more. That when we first started doing Instagram edits, back when it was, I think, 25 seconds was your maximum, we would take the same road several times and move the camera after each time. So the road in front of us, for example, if we were going to ride it, that if we wanted to include multiple angles, we would ride it 4 to 5 times and move the camera within that certain section, and the end result would be a lot more dynamic than if I just had this single view. Because it is nice, it does immerse you to the experience of being behind the motorcycle as if you're driving it. But then what if you were to get an angle from next to the motorcycle and looking forward? That also adds a different dynamic, same as if I were to include something from behind the motorcycle looking back, if I wanted to focus on the chain. And so that's what we're here. We're going to go ahead and pull over here to the local favorite video recording spot, BPN Nutrition. Bear with me, we're back, and we're gonna go ahead and try to do a little bit of a setup and just show you how a clip can differ based on how you present it. And we're gonna just use our motovlog helmet. We're using that for audio, so it's gonna be the GoPro Hero 8. And we're also gonna just incorporate the GoPro Session. Some of the different things that you can do if you're filming that will elevate that video and make it just much more interesting. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna place it in 2 different spots. POV of the helmet cam and incorporate that into the shot. And this is great if you want to start out your videos with the story, or if you're including as a B-roll that you are going to come to, let's say, BPN here in Round Rock. And instead of you just showing yourself there, like, hey guys, we're going to go to BPN in Round Rock, and then you cut straight to in front of it, that if you were to include a video, whether it be, you know, miscellaneous B-roll included, or you do kind of these action cuts, it may have the video look a lot more cinematic, and that you had put more intent and purpose behind it. That a lot of people do like seeing that, but just note that it does take some time to put everything together to get the cameras. So we're doing the similar action that we did in the other one. And then you can get as closest to that as possible if you want. And it's all on how you want this video to look like. So if you wanted to go to the outside of that camera versus cut on the inside like we did, but that was a close one right there. That you can also place it into, let's say, the tree. If you kind of want a very wide angled shot, we're going to place it on top of the sign, and it just helps separate you just a little bit more from your surroundings. And it also just helps separate your shot and makes it just a little bit more of that cinema style of, you know, it could cue that you're leaving a scene. So say we were coming to BPN and we already did our video, and we're saying, all right, now we're going to leave. Hope y'all enjoyed today's video. And it shows us leaving their parking lot. As the shot gets wider and more grand, it could signify that that's the end of that scene. So let's go back to the starter here, and then you leave. Or vice versa. You can start off with a very wide angle of you coming in, pulling into their parking lot, and then that's where you can cue all these other shots that we just did. And if, for say, the storefront's right here, you can go ahead and pull in. That's just a couple ways to help build your scene to add that extra level of professionalism to it, of just incorporating different angles. But it is a little bit of time consumption on your part, because then you also have to splice them together, figure out how you want to edit it. You can also play around with different camera locations on the bike, like the one that we have on the handlebar. We have one that's a magnetic mount that you can mount here onto anything that's a metal surface on your motorcycle. What we're going to do is see if we can mount this somewhere cool and get a cool shot of, let's say, what do we want here? What can we get that's a cool shot? I feel like that's going to melt it. Oh, that's cool. So we're gonna have it here, and you can kind of place the angle a little bit, and it's gonna get most of my leg just because that's exactly where it's facing. It gives you a different angle, different perspective. come in here, we have the different camera angle. And that camera angle is great, especially if you also have like a longer stick on it, like a selfie stick, because it will help add just that dramatic lean angle. Let's say you're at the track or you're on a favorite twisty road. That it immerses the viewer just a little bit more because of the different camera angle. It's like whenever you're watching a movie and something's just so wow factor, you're like, dang, that's a really cool movie because of that. And then, so just play around with different mounts that you can get. That's why I really like the sessions, is because the fact that you can maneuver it in whichever fashion. Unfortunately with this one you probably have to press it first to record and then insert it, but it is so flexible that I really would like to see GoPro come out with another session that's similar to the GoPro 11 that they're coming out with, or even just a 360 that's similar. Here's another clip here that we're going to mess with. We're going to maneuver this to that one. And that's what's so amazing about these action cameras, is that we have an original GoPro Hero that we've ran for so long and then we retired it, and we have a couple of the other Heroes. We have some sessions. We have the Session 5, and I've enjoyed them, but as they continue to progress, they're basically getting one of these DSLR or mirrorless cameras in a compact form, and it's also nowhere near as expensive, because what we have here is probably like $1,800. So I'm not going to mount this somewhere on my motorcycle where it's going to shake and it may break, because that's a whole much more of an investment versus something like this. So this one's cool because you can basically just attach it to your shirt. I'm trying to figure out where I want this. Just set it here, if I can get this in there. And the only downside is that it has a little bit of a sag, but again, you have, this one's an arm that can rotate, so we're going to have it to where it's steady. And now I have a different POV that is probably not going to be that great, just because you're going to see only the cockpit, but we're going to try it. It's recording, and let's go for a quick drive. And I really like this chest mount for dirt bike riding, or if you have a cafe racer, or just something similar like a Sportster or a Harley with lower end bars, kind of like the drag bars, because you're able to see the road. Because right now I'm sure the fairing is blocking a lot of it in my bar setup, but if this was much more open and I was down here, it has a much cooler look to it. Now again, think of a lot of this as tools that you can manipulate and mess with, that you can use not just for motorcycle riding, but you can also use it to lead into your motorcycle ride of you getting ready, or if you going inside a store to go run some errands, and it really helps captivate more of the story, and you are the storyteller, so you're able to tell it how you like it. What if you were to add a drone shot to that?